welcome to Sessions and On That Note. And it's been a while, I've been absent a little bit, but I'm really glad to have Craig Marshall here tonight for my first show of 2011. So thanks for coming over, Craig.
I'm in the first of the year.
The first of the year. And I know that you've been very busy, and it's been difficult to schedule things. Today, you kind of squeezed this in between a lunch gig and an afternoon jam session. You're like one of the busiest musicians in Austin.
It sometimes seems that way. It's been a little busy lately. Some of the gigs have slowed down, but I've been doing all these recordings too, so that takes the place.
Well, you're a good example of the kind of musician that really makes your full living with music.
Yeah, I just play.
You just play.
So
maybe you could go through some of the different situations you play in. I know you've been in ensembles like the Lucky Strikes, and you do some solo things.
Yes. Still do the jazz gig, the Lucky Strikes. We still play a lot of regular weekly gigs and parties and stuff.
And that's been going on for how long?
Yeah, like since the early 90s or something, yeah. A long time.
Like almost 20 years?
Yeah, it's
wow.
Coming on. I mean, I moved here in 91 to Austin, and that band started up, a couple years after that, something like that, 93, I think.
I moved here in 99, and you were in full swing by then.
Well, that was the full swing.
That was the full, literally swing time frame.
Yeah, that was in the full swing. But, yeah, it's still going. I mean, we have, some weekly gigs that we do at restaurants. And then I'm doing my solo thing, some acoustic and then some with the band. Like I played Mohawk with a full band last month, and then I've got, Momos or Scoot In or whatever with my solo band. And then I do like acoustic gigs like House Wine or Romeo's, and so
how many gigs would you say you play on an average week?
Man, it was about 4 or 5. Now it's slowed down a little. I mean, it's still probably 3, I would say.
So you keep busy. I have known you for a pretty long time, but I didn't know when you first came to Austin or what brought you here. I think you had told me you're from New York.
Yeah, from upstate New York, okay. Syracuse area.
Mm-hmm.
And came down to play music. I love live music. I wanted to go see live music and hear live music, but play full time. So that's been... Come on.
We might have my co-host join us here. Come on, Kylie. Hope that doesn't bother you. We needed to get you away from the mic.
It's all part of the show.
It is part of the show. She only comes out for people that she likes, so she must like you.
Yep.
There have only been a few special people.
So, yeah, I came to Austin, like I said, in 91 and wanted to play country music and rockabilly, sort of Austin music back then, which I did for a couple years. But then that all sort of went away. I mean, some of the projects I had sort of faded out, and then I was really getting into jazz and started kind of pursuing more of the swing and 40s and standards and stuff. So that's how that all happened.
So it was like the Austin dream. I mean, was there any other reason why you came here? What made Austin stand out? Were there people that you knew that were coming here?
I had met some of the country guys, like the Wagoneers, some of that scene. I'd visited, and but no, it was because Austin. Everyone said, you want to play live music, check out Austin. It's got a huge live scene, and especially for country, you know. So that's sort of what that's sort of what I was doing back then, and now I'm sort of returning to that in a way. I'm doing some country stuff again, but on my new project that'll be coming.
So you've adapted to the Austin music scene then over the years, like
yes.
where you started out with country, then you moved into the jazz sort of swing thing, and I think there's always been this thread of the singer-songwriter, so it seemed to really suit you.
Yeah, I've always written original stuff. I've always written kind of pop stuff. So, it's I've always done, showcases and always wanted to pursue my songs. So, whether it's been recording or playing or whatever, Austin's been good for that. I mean, I've gotten out of Austin a little bit to tour and stuff, but I definitely still am excited about Austin as a live scene.
Mm-hmm.
So
me too. I mean, people always lament the past and say it used to be different, but I still think it's pretty lively, and I still consider it the live music capital.
Yeah, there's no place like it. I mean, to go see so many great bands at any night. I mean, and like going to club even in the same night. I mean, that's pretty rare.
You're right. I had a friend come to town on a Monday a few weeks ago, and he was like, "Anything going on?" And I got back to him with like 5 things on Monday.
Yeah.
And they were all awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where can you do that?
Yeah.
So I feel very lucky. I'm constantly reminding myself how lucky I am to live in Austin.
Yeah, it's still pretty good. I mean, some of the projects I've done have been, maybe harder to build a live following than some of the other ones, but everyone says that about Austin. Mm-hmm. It's just hard.
There's a lot of competition.
There's so many things going on.
Right, a lot of things to do. A kind of a small core of music fans, so it's hard to get the attention of that core group.
Right.
Right. So you have a pop record out now. This is your newest EP, 6 Songs to Sunday.
Yeah.
And definitely an example of the pop gems that you're known for.
This is the 4th in that sort of style.
And some of the songs on it I'd heard you perform live. Some of them were new, but they all seem like really to tightly work together. How do you decide to package songs?
Well, that was sort of the latest group, although some were older, and I don't know. In this last one, they just seemed to fit together. I was set out to make a longer record, a full length, like 10, 11 songs that I've always done before, and I just got to these 7, and I was like, you know what, that's good. That's enough. It's good like that. And they seem to fit together, and they're from 2 different sessions. I mean, one was a couple years ago in Nashville that I had been sort of hanging on to do something with, and then the other ones we just finished last year. So, they all seem to sort of go together.
I would say from listening to it, I was like, this is just a tight package of songs.
Yeah.
A small set that just all seem to be in the same sort of theme or the same tempo for the most part. Yeah.
It's a bit of a theme, and I think maybe it's a little different from the last stuff. I don't know. It's kind of a progression.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a more maturity to it than maybe some of
maybe
the last
less
stuff.
Maybe less power pop. Maybe it's, I don't know.
When I think of something like Radio Girl, which was your last set of songs, which is a great song, but that is a true power pop song.
Yeah,
I
that's
think this
coming more
toned
from
it down, a little bit. I think in this, you're a prolific songwriter. You write songs a lot, I assume. What is that process like?
Let's see. Well, I get a lot of music ideas, chord ideas, and vocal, kind of melodic ideas, but I don't always get lyric ideas. That sort of comes later. So I'll have things going on in my head, some tunes I'll be humming or driving or sitting down with a guitar, and then if it really strikes me, I'll say, well, I need to put a lyric to this. And sometimes, if I'm lucky, I'll come up with some phrase that may become the title, or the chorus or something.
So it's usually the melody first.
Yeah, melody first, and then hopefully, I'll get some line that hasn't been used before, and that speaks to people. I don't know.
That seems hard because there's a lot of lines that have been used. How
yeah.
how can you do something that's not cliche or
very,
been done?
Yeah, it's hard to have a universal message that's not too cliche or not. You're right. I mean, it's a challenge,
and not too esoteric or smarty pants.
Yeah,
it's hard. Yeah, there's something that's
clever.
really accessible to people, but not derivative.
Right.
Yeah, and you seem to walk that line consistently.
Well, thanks. I think I come out of that tradition. I guess the people that I listen to in that kind of style, where it's sort of universal messages and subtle, phrase and lyric ideas that aren't always the most, personal, revealing, but they still speak to people,
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you play a lot of different instruments. I've seen you play guitar. Do you play keyboards?
I play some keyboards. I think I didn't play any on this one. I have played some keyboard parts on records, but I grew up playing piano, sort of before guitar. So I still, I think sometimes I think in a piano voicings, even though it's guitar. So, but yeah, I played acoustic electrics and John Noter Thomas has been with me for, the whole time pretty much, and he
did an interview with me with Amy.
Oh, okay.
Bobrook, yes.
We're from the same town in Syracuse, and we knew each other up there.
I didn't know that.
So we've always worked together, and he plays most of the electrics and most of the lead parts. So.
And you work with a lot of other really well-known musicians in Austin. I was looking at the people listed on here, like Derek Morris and Jeff Botta.
Yeah, it's great to have these guys that, that want to play with me. I've had Derek on all my records.
Who's now playing with Alpha Rev.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think he was playing today.
Was he?
I think he was
I saw him in December at one of their gigs. He sounds like he's doing really great with them.
And he's been playing with me sometimes at Romeo's because they have a grand piano, and we use I've used Derek quite a bit over there. So yeah, he's great to have, and I've got Jeff Botta on drums, and he always sounds great. And my bass player from the last record, John Thomason, moved to Nashville, so now I'm working with this guy Naj Conklin, who's a great bass player. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, it's a good group of guys.
It's a good music community that you seem to tap into. I see you out at a lot of shows. Yeah. Who are some of your local favorites that you like to see?
Probably some of yours too, I'm sure. Your fastball and your
we do cross paths quite frequently.
I'm fans of Tony Scalzo and fastball and Miles and
like another great set of songwriters.
Yeah,
so I can see why you would definitely respect them.
Yeah, really good stuff. Robert Harrison, Future Clouds and Radar. I'm starting to work with Robert now on my next project. So yeah, I've always enjoyed his stuff.
Yeah, I love Robert. I've loved him. Cotton Mather's my favorite stuff of all time, and he's great. He's been working with a lot of different people. We were just at a show on Friday night of his, so I'm really, really glad anytime I get to see him.
Yeah, so that's been fun. And who else? I did this Austin Songwriters. I'm part of this Austin Songwriters group, and there's some good songwriters that I respect that sort of are in that circle. David Halley and Michael Fracasso and people like that. So I don't know. That's it's not just the pop scene that I like, but I tend to go to a lot of those shows your Skyrockets and your
and the associated friends of Skyrocket.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got to work with Darren Murphy on my first record, so there's a history there.
Right.
So yeah.
So in terms of other influences that beyond the local area, what would you say are your influences in terms of bands you've always listened to, not necessarily stuff you listen to now, but who you've listened to for a long time?
Yeah. Well, definitely the sort of the classic Beatles and McCartney and Brian Wilson and
the masters of pop.
your Badfinger and your Paul Simon and Elvis Costello. I get compared. I mean, I guess maybe sometimes vocally, but that's definitely been probably a big part of the influence. But I like the Jayhawks. I like Freddie Johnston. I like this guy Mike Viola. I like I don't know. There's a bunch of them. Elliott Smith, Ron Sexsmith. Some of the more kind of unknown songwriters, but
usually like sort of singer-songwriter types, like where you appreciate the individual songwriting.
Yeah,
I
seem to be a song guy.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. All the people that
more
you're mentioning.
Usually more than the overall sound, but I I'll get into some bigger sonic type bands, but I tend to go for the songs. So yeah, whether that's solo artist or somebody that's really driving their band sound. I mean, that tends to be.
Yeah. You mentioned the songwriters group, and I can see where that would be fun. What else do you get out of that? Like, what is it that, because I know a lot of musicians in town do songwriter circles, or they do song swaps, or they do different things like online digitally where they work on songs together.
Right.
What do you feel is the value of doing something like that?
I don't know. You meet a lot of other songwriters, and you can do shows together. Maybe co-write or maybe trade ideas, but hopefully it will lead to some publishing stuff, or that's sort of the goal. I mean, to get artists to cover your songs, or to get film and TV stuff, just some more industry, and
networking, to some extent,
and the awesome
and learning
songwriters
from each other,
right? I mean, the awesome songwriters tries to hook up some publishing people to come down and do events and stuff. The thing with them is it's usually Nashville centered, so it tends to be country. If you're not writing commercial country, they can't really do much for you. So that's been an ongoing struggle with, I think, the Austin songwriter scene versus like a Nashville.
Right, I've heard that from other people.
So
it's hard to make that transition.
Yeah,
it's just a different kind of
it's so
sound, different kind of marketing, packaging. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anyone here that really wants to write that kind of songs.
And I think a lot of people who come to Austin think that it's going to be like a tiny Nashville. And they think that it's a bunch of country music, and they don't realize that it's a much more diverse musical community. It's rootsy, but it's not Nashville country. I guess I wouldn't describe it. And Nashville country's a little too slick and produced, I think.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing.
And we have slick and produced here, but it's not in the country realm usually. I mean, it just is really, really different. I think it surprises people.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I do some open mics, and I do some showcases and song get-togethers at houses, and trade songs. I mean, it's just fun. I just like to play.
I think that's the bottom line. If you're going to be a musician, you better like to play, because you have to get out there and you have to do it a lot. You have to network like you're doing.
Yeah.
And it may not be what you thought it was going to be? I mean, like, is your career what you thought it was going to be when you moved here 20 years ago? Or
no, I didn't think I would be doing so much jazz. I mean, to make money. I mean, but it worked out. I mean, so that I could continue to play without
right.
having a day job or anything. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's ever what you set out to do. I mean, it'd be nice to get more of that in that industry, publishing wise and film and TV. I've had some film stuff lately last year that I've had kind of get picked up, so that's been good. But,
like what kind of things?
There was a film actually that premiered in the Austin Film Festival last fall called When Harry Tries to Marry, and they used 3 of my tunes. So
that's right where you want to be.
Yeah, the film.
If you're a songwriter, you want that kind of publishing. Right,
and especially now that sort of rock radio or pop radio is sort of gone. I mean, there's really the new radio is sort of film and TV and commercials. I mean, that's how people get discovered. That's for a pop song, kind of rock or pop songwriter. Film and TV that's it.
So how do you make that happen? Because I get that question a lot. Like, how do I get my songs in a film or on a commercial?
It's hard. It still sort of comes down to like maybe who you know sometimes. I mean, I had friends that were the music supervisors for this film that came out last year. But I've got some companies, publisher companies that will sign you can sign up. You can kind of sign your song catalog with them, and they work that market, but they don't always. They've got a billion other people, so it's like a
clearinghouse, and then people can kind of go in and
right.
sift through it. And if yours turns out to be the sound they're looking for, but it's not just, you can't just rely on that.
Right. I mean, so I've had people pitch my stuff, but it's not the same as knowing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If maybe you're out somewhere and you run into somebody that's doing an independent film, and that's
or something during South by Southwest.
Yeah, I mean that's how
that angle.
And luckily in Austin, you may run into those people,
right? Because
there's so many, people in that industry.
Yeah, all year round here, local filmmakers. And,
you're always So I'm always meeting those people. They don't always use my songs, but it's nice to have that as part of Austin,
right?
And as part of the, part of that scene, to be able to just, say, hey, check out my tunes. You're making a film. Let me know what you think. And so that seems to be the outlet. I mean, labels and radio. It seems like it's not. It seems that it's so hard right now. The old model.
And maybe not even necessary.
Yeah, maybe not even
there's
necessary.
so much like do it yourself, and you can, to me, carve a career with a small number of fans who really care about you.
Right.
As opposed to this, selling multi-platinum, which I'm sure people would still love to do.
Well, yeah,
but you could have a career with 1,000 or 5,000 fans that will buy anything you put out there.
Right.
You just have to work that fan base.
And touring, I mean, has always sort of been a part of that, but I don't even know if that's as much as it used to be. I mean, you can do so much online now that I think it used to be only accessible by touring.
I still like the live performance, and I don't think there's anything that will replace that online. Of course, I like to watch performances on YouTube that bands that I love do in other cities.
Right.
But that doesn't replace to me, the live concert experience.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I know a lot. I know that there are people who don't care for that, though. You know, the standing, the going out, the paying for tickets, or having to buy tickets through Ticketmaster or something like that. I mean, it is kind of a process that you have to want to be a part of. But to me, living in Austin, that's the biggest, most important thing to me, is just being in a community of people who care about music and being at a live event.
Right.
You know, being right there with the musicians and being part of, you know, some communal feeling.
Right.
But I agree with you that there's a way to get your music out there and to share things and to have people get to know you as a musician.
Yeah, in other cities. I mean, that's the thing. You know, it's way easier than it used to be to get fans in Europe or whatever. I mean, you know, anywhere in the world, they'll see your stuff online. But
and then a tour could come out of that. You know, come here and swing through Europe or something. Yeah,
that'd be great.
So you have, so what do you have going on for South by Southwest? That's coming up.
Oh.
Everybody's getting excited about it.
Yes. I do have at least, I think, 4 things already. So I've got, and I don't know all the times and everything, but I've got some showcases at some of the places I play, like House Wine and Romeo's. I'm supposed to play there, and then I'm doing a showcase that used to be that place, Love on the Lawn, on South First. I think it's Ginger, Ginger Lee. I think she's doing a showcase on Saturday, but I'm not. I know I'm part of that, but I'm not sure where that is yet. And then I have another Thursday showcase at I believe the GNS Lounge, which is a crazy bar in South Austin, and that's sort of John Conquest's show. I think one of his shows, and he's got that Third Coast magazine.
Right. So just one last thing, you know, if say there's some kid out there in upstate New York that's thinking about moving to Austin, Texas now in 2011, you know, what kind of advice do you have for people just starting?
To come down here now? Man, there's so many people coming.
You're like, don't come.
Coming down here. I go to these songwriter things, and there's just always somebody just moving here. So it's still
living the dream.
Yeah.
The Austin dream.
Still going. Advice, you know, it'd be the same. I mean, it just get out there and play. I mean, it'd be the same advice. It'd be like, do the open mics and meet people and network and do showcases and, you know,
be part of the community.
But you know, yeah, I would say try to focus on songs. I guess coming from what I do, I don't know. I think there's artists out there that, you know, they might be good performers, they might be good singers, and they might be like some iconic sound or something that they're going for, like one of their favorite current artists. But that may be fine, but sometimes it lacks some real songwriting or some real something with the song. You know, it's not always it's not just performance. I mean, I think you have to have a song there to begin with. So I don't know.
So work on songwriting.
Yeah.
And dig deep for the influences.
Yeah, maybe dig a little deep for the influence. Yeah, I don't know. Just play, you know, just get out there and play, I guess.
Get out there and play, focus on your songwriting, and I guess what you said before is have fun. I mean, enjoy doing it.
Yeah, and go see other people. That's if I had one thing about Austin musicians, there's a lot of great Austin musicians that moved here to play, but they didn't really always move here to go see music. And there's a lot of people I know that just, if they're not playing a show, they're not going to go to a show. And, you know, I think to support your other artists.
Yeah, I agree. I see a lot of musicians at the shows that I go to. Sometimes it's me and a bunch of musicians in the audience.
Yeah.
And And I think that's great. But I know some of those people you're talking about who just play and don't kind
of
there's
participate. Some people that you'll never see out. So, I don't know. Maybe they have day job. Maybe they have schedules they can't go out. But,
right.
But I think that the great thing about Austin is that if you live in Austin, it seems like you should really love going out to see
excuses. Music. There's always something great. I agree.
Don't know. Yeah, I
agree.
Can't go out every night, but
right.
Just go out and hear live music.
Right. I agree. I completely agree. I definitely feel that way myself. So 6 songs to Sunday. You want to play something off of this?
Yeah, I can play something off of that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, great. Well, thanks for coming by, and we will be right back with a song from Craig Marshall.
Perfect timing now. Think we're finding we got perfect timing.